All right, so let's get started. It's about 6:20. Why don't we talk about the right to farm signs? Dave, this was your idea here, and so we have $1,000 to play with. I have a good friend who works at a place that makes road signs. Unfortunately, that part of the company went out of business. So I would talk to Pete. I mean, the highway garage.
Oh, Keith?
Keith, yeah. I would talk to him. And I think also at one point I talked to the guy who organized the signs for Hadley. If you call Wally and he'll know who it is. I don't remember you guys' name. Anyway, so
I'll have my neighbor put sign.
yeah,
Hard to say. Something to start with. I'll talk to Keith. So
yeah, we're the place and the guy in Hadley had so that's where that's at. So number two there was I had a conversation with Pete Westover about helping out with some of the clerical work here, and he's not interested. He said he would come tonight. It looks like he's not coming. Anyway, he was just going to kind of think if he come up with somebody who might be interested. So that's why that's there. The Galinsky APR. I think the CPC was confused because they were aware this APR was out there floating somewhere, but no, no application had done CPC for funding, which is, I think, because it's the timing of it, it doesn't really jive with town meeting. I think they just went to the selectmen for funding out of the general fund. If I understand correctly, that's what happened.
Okay.
And so that's why there were some recent emails that circulated around. I don't know who all saw them, but the CPC was feeling out of the loop.
So in that case, we don't need to have an opinion, or the AdCom doesn't really need.
I believe I wrote a letter of support a year ago, and I believe it went to the selectmen. So maybe that's what they were looking for at the time. But if,
Letter of support. We talked about it on February 13th.
Yeah.
For Galinsky APR.
I suspect I did it right.
Okay.
The finance committee has to put that. That was said. Hey, Kenny, since I saw him talking to him, Justin.
Could be.
Yeah, CPC gets their funding from Finance Committee. It comes from taxes. So I'm sure that there's a link there somewhere.
It is sort of earmarked. It's
right.
It's not as though the Finance Committee decides. You know what I mean? It's kind of an automatic 30%.
Right. The way it was, I mean, I haven't been on CPC for a little while, but there was different buckets.
Yeah.
That have CPC control. Okay. So I guess the take-home message is that the Galinsky APR will not need to come to before the Ad Committee or before town meeting.
No, we were asked for a letter of support.
Yeah.
They got it.
Yep. Okay.
So Jim Galanka has been serving in this committee, was the AdCom, as long as I have, and you're going to take a pause.
Yes, so.
Okay. Margaret and Jim.
People interested.
Yep. Yep. Well, thanks for coming.
Jim, how long have you served on the AdCom?
I think we were 2016.
Right?
I think it was 16.
Okay.
Yeah, I were same boat.
Hope you'll still come to meetings if they sound interesting. Keep you in the loop, as Margaret will stay in the loop. Okay.
Like that.
So welcome. This is so I guess we should the selectmen will need to appoint you, which will happen in 2 weeks probably. And I think you'll need to go to get sworn in or something like that. So you just come into the office, ask what you have to do. It'll take you about 30 seconds.
So Margaret Christie as well.
Yep.
Is stepping off.
We got okay. So after a decade long pause, we are back into the email address that the AgCom is supposed to be using. I learned a lot in the last week or so, reviewing 100 missed emails. So anyway, there is a group that's getting together. I guess I wrote a letter of support for this too. But I think they're trying to make Whately more pollinator friendly. And I think they're using the phrase a corridor for pollinators. And I think they asked if someone from the AgCom could come. So if anyone's interested in going to that, then you could find out more at the town hall. I think the meeting is November 7th. And if you're interested, I could get you more information. I don't have it here. I don't think. No. So, and then the other thing, they're looking for someone from the AgCom. There's a group in town getting together to discuss how battery storage facilities might impact the town. Battery storage from big solar. So again, if anyone is interested in going to that meeting.
Are there any of those in town?
I don't believe there are. Are there any? There. I remember hearing about this a few years ago, and I think it kind of fizzled out. But wasn't there talk about creating like an isolated center of West Whately electrical grid?
That was what's the last name? Call it. The parents on
McGuffey.
yes, they have like a hayfield they want
Yeah,
to.
Brian Belder bought the hayfield, so that's out.
Oh, that.
And I think they moved to Colorado.
Yeah, they're gone. Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, Autumn and Dalton.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, I think there might have been. I think that probably inspired this.
Yeah. Okay.
So, again,
I can tell you the power goes out all the time in West Whately. So other than that, I didn't know we were gonna have our own grid.
maybe someday you can resolve it locally.
Treat people down in Sweden.
Yeah, we lose
You
power.
going up to Connolly, still right between.
So they're looking for a member to serve on their committee.
I don't know how formal it is.
Okay.
How formal is the pollinator? Are they like
I don't think
find spots or what are they looking for?
Let me. They got a grant. I know. Yeah, they got a grant and that's it. Anyway, yeah, I don't think it's not like some mandatory thing. I don't know. I think this is going to be the first meeting. I think they're probably going to come up with a plan, and they want input from us. So
They're feeling their way through it.
yep. This is the beginning. I think it was a 2 or 3 year
I'd be interested to hear how much land they're trying
Hmm,
to convert. Is it large
Right.
part pieces, or are they just trying to do like side medians and stuff?
You know, I'm not sure. It strikes me that there's an enormous amount of the town that's available for all kinds. Maybe they're gonna do some education about, farmers not damaging bee populations, and things like that. I've probably personally killed more cannabis, anyone in town.
They were
Yeah, well, it doesn't discriminate, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, there could be, that could be part of it too. Maybe they'll encourage, gardening efforts that.
Yeah, certain flowers.
Goldenrod. Goldenrod. Yeah. These ones,
Milkweed,
goldenrod.
that's the vanishing milkweed. Right. It's one that
Planted buckwheat last year. Lost our tree. I took out of the for the beach, because lost the pollen off it. I didn't see any bees out there.
Hmm.
Still around, got a ice, I think. Wild one, around the field.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
Had one big swarm. His girlfriend was going to go into the barn. Took off. It's huge.
No kidding.
Probably 1 feet wide, about 2 inches. Just went down to that guy down the swamp road. Wanted them.
Hey,
Right.
come catch them.
Really?
Yeah.
They're around.
Yeah, we have them. I think they're Dave's though. I don't know. I think Dave Cooney still got these. I know his got wiped out a couple times, but I think he's back. I think he has them again.
It's good to see them.
Yeah. Has anyone else been just finding yellow jackets every
Yes.
time they turn around?
Everywhere.
So,
In my house, somehow.
Especially when it gets warm.
Oh,
Yeah.
anyway, I could have a nest this summer. Jeez, anyway.
Now you got the
Yeah.
Asian, whatever the ladybugs. They're not even real ladybugs.
My hand looked like one of those
Run
medical gloves
as
if you
fast as
blow
you
it up.
can.
Okay, so like I say, if someone's interested, you can let me know. I can get you more information as to where and when that meeting's happening. In fact, there may not even be a first meeting planned on that yet.
pollinator.
No, the battery.
Batteries.
Battery thing. The pollinators always have
Okay.
okay, so I have unforeseen matters down as well. One thing I was gonna just bring up is, someone from the AgCom normally serves on the Community Preservation Commission. So, and I've been going to those. They do it purely by Zoom. So, you can be asleep in 10 minutes and then, and, so, hey, does anybody know, because the last meeting, someone mentioned that the AgCom person who attends is an at-large member. What does that
No idea.
mean? Okay.
At large member.
And I just wondered if it meant
I
it
thought that was
doesn't
like
count
cities.
towards a quorum.
Yeah.
Anyway. If
Sounds like you're on like probation or something.
I know, well, yeah.
or does that just mean remote?
Well, John's gonna
Mm-hmm.
ask the Google machine to go. No one ever has to wonder about anything.
Real-time history.
At large. Has no specific duties unless assigned. Has the same rights and responsibilities as other board members. Represents the whole membership or population. Can join committees. Serve as committee chair. Serves as a liaison with the general membership. What's that tell you?
They have no actual
Not a
spelled out
specific
duties.
My Google said something a little different. It said, a member of town committee who is elected to represent the entire town rather than a specific subset of
Yeah.
the town.
There you go. Yep.
Anyway, if anyone is interested in being that person to go to the CPC, I'm pretty well done to me. It's a good thing. I mean, I don't know if everyone's familiar with the CPC, but at some point, many years ago, 10, 12 years ago, the town voted to establish a CPC. It increased the taxes by 3%. That 3% is earmarked and then matched by the state. So your pool of money doubles. Whately typically contributes about $92,000 to $96,000. You get the same amount from the state, so it's almost 200 grand. And they've preserved land, helped preserve land for hiking trails in town. Rebuilt one of the oddball silos at Quan Quan. I mean, worked at the
Windows in the
library,
church, right?
windows in the church, it's on and on. Paying down when I first joined, they were paying down aggressively the money that was borrowed to renovate the town hall, cemetery restoration, and the list goes on. APRs, of course. So it does some good things. It's very very a little bit rubber stamped. I mean, the support for these things is almost kind of automatic as long as it's really what the CPC does is make sure that the application is complete and that the funds can be used for the purpose requested. And then the CPC basically recommends that the town use CPC money to fund that project. Town can decide yes or no. So CPC is kind of just shepherding it to town.
Right.
There's some interesting things that might be going on. So housing, which the town is struggling to support. Anyway, so that's an opportunity for someone. I'll probably tune into the next one. I'm not even sure when that is, but it's once a month. It's usually a 2-month break.
And that's just on Zoom.
It is. I mean, that was everyone's choice but me. That was, yeah. So, anyway, so, it's a nice thing, in my opinion, that happens.
Before we adjourn.
Yeah.
I passed out minutes from the February meeting and the
Yes.
March meeting. I'll need a motion from the members to accept the minutes or to discuss the minutes.
All right, so why don't we take a couple minutes here and just read through this.
Yeah.
I already found one typo.
Okay, the third line item where it says $500 to be used towards the update. I don't think that's not in the budget,
Okay,
so I think we should
scratch it.
strike.
Okay. Got it.
I was 54 years old when I found out Wally Zykowski's first name is Walter.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Wally.
Was there any update on that, on whole neighbor stuff?
Yeah, I can give you a little summary here. So I move that we accept the minutes from February and March meeting with
Corrections.
the corrections. So we need a second.
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? And although we are 1, 2, 3, 4 members, so we have a quorum.
And the other thing too is we need appointments from the select board for,
Yes, we
Mike
need to
and Eric.
request that.
right?
Do we need to move that?
Um,
I don't think so.
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, so I will contact the select.
Right.
And then, like I say,
And probably a letter of appreciation to
Yes.
Jim and Margaret.
don't tell Jim, it'll be a surprise.
There's probably a big plaque that goes along with that.
We'll decorate your truck with streamers, balloons and stuff.
Nice. Final thing.
Yeah.
Next meeting.
Yes, it would, one thought, so, okay, so let's do this. Let me update you on where Wally is with that overtime thing. I talked to him, actually, I've talked to him quite a bit late. He feels like he's in a good spot. He's been working with a labor lawyer, Chris McNulty, or something, who he said, he told him that it's gonna go this way. He says, right now, you've been kind of tried, if you will, within the Department of Labor. He says, we're gonna appeal it. This first appeal you're gonna lose because it stays within their own system. The second appeal, you're almost probably gonna lose. The next appeal, it comes into the general court, and he's reviewed it, so he says, with a couple of different labor lawyers who say it will be turned around. It will be, it will be destroyed. Be over. It's what they did is completely unsafe. Yeah. So Wally's committed, it sounds like, to fighting through the 3 appeals. And I asked him if there was going to be any kind of GoFundMe opportunity. And
Because it's costing him money the whole way.
it will. I think this lawyer has done a lot of work on the side for him. And then, but this guy, I think he changed his firm association, so he was going to have to start charging. Wally said he would be letting people know if there was going to be an opportunity to support the league. So that's kind of where that's at. We need to get organized again if we're going to continue talking about proposing a 54-hour work week. Anyway, there's a little effort being made, maybe to clarify some of the states around there, and that's kind of got to get reorganized again. So Joe Sakos was talking all this obviously. So anyway, I think that'll continue if I hear anything. I'll pass it on. All right, where were we at? Sorry, I wanted to wrap that up.
Next meeting.
Next meeting.
Actually, meeting date or day of the week. Which week?
I have this thought. I've had this thought. So obviously, we're looking for somebody. I'm looking for someone. I think it'd be best for everyone to have clerical help managing this and doing it right. I had the idea that maybe Sarah Cooper. They have something. They have the skill set. I now know they're not interested. Then I thought Angie Hutchkowski. I don't know why Angie would be interested. Seems like a business person. So I might try to have that conversation. I thought Pete might have some ideas. He was going to come tonight. it might be possible to have our meeting not on a night when the selectmen are meeting,
Mhm.
and maybe we could pay Peter
Okay,
for some of these jobs. Margaret and I talked about that as a possibility. I have not had a chance to talk to
yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the minutes right here from February, $1,500 to be used in the AgCom's contribution for administrative and clerical assistance during the regular and special meetings. It's, somebody's getting paid. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
ever.
I mean, it's the rate of pay is fixed at about, it's like 21 and change.
Mhm.
It's you know, some going rate. But I think the planning board is looking for the same
Sarah didn't want to do it.
thing. Say it again.
Sarah,
That's what Margaret said. Margaret talked to Sarah and then,
So it's kind of the two things are related is if we found somebody that was willing to serve as a clerical aide or administrative aide, when they can get here and do that would be important for the meetings because
yes. So, like right now, neither Jessica or Peter can help us because they're attending the select board meeting. We started meeting at the same time as the select board because we can never figure out how to do Zoom unless they were here.
Right.
Now, if one of them was going to be helping us, we could meet whenever we want, whenever it's good for them. So maybe why don't we leave the next meeting a little bit up in the air,
okay,
and I'll think about that.
okay.
What exactly is that clerical person doing? I'm not interested. but-
Soon
Are you
minutes.
sure?
Meetings? So I think it would start with probably uh, submitting an agenda, and then communicating to all the members when the meeting was going to happen. Monitoring the email is part of it. That gets a little sticky. Taking minutes, submitting, the minutes to everyone, correcting them, submitting them to the town. It could be, depending on, it could be doing some legwork on the road sign project, any other, when we've had stuff printed from the school, managing that.
Writing like letters of appreciation, that kind of.
Yeah, I mean, or, that can,
And the 1,500, I'm confused, the 1,500 versus the 21. 21's
okay, so we have,
an hour, is it
Yeah.
1,500 a year?
well, it's not, it would be, we have up to $1,500 to spend at 21.75 an hour.
Sure.
Yes, so it would be 70 hours or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Great.
Yeah, true.
But
Yeah, well, I'd be happy to, expose them to the process.
sure.
So why don't we leave next meeting a little bit up in, I will talk to Peter.
Is it possible to keep it on a Tuesday night, just not on?
Yeah.
Okay.
You think that is, in general, is Tuesday good?
For me, yeah.
No.
Small children.
Tuesday is as good as any.
Mhm.
That's what I'm hearing. Okay. Okay. So you're gonna start to see communication from me from Ag Commission at Whately.org. And I I have been, after having written the book on violating open meeting law, I now know quite a bit about it. So anyway, the discussions that we do have about things, the more they matter, the more important it is. It should be at a meeting, or it should be going through the Ag Commission. So just look for that change. That's going to be me. That is emailing. And so the person who monitors the email has to be a member of the commission. The clerical person does not.
Mhm.
And they also would not need to be a resident. But you can only be a member of the commission. I also asked, I called around to a couple of different ag comps in town to see how they were doing. I only actually truly communicated with Hadley. They do not function at all.
They're AdCom?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, they haven't had a meeting in 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
So they don't have an administrative person of any kind.
No,
Hi, Margaret.
no, there was no, well, now we can finally get started.
No,
Apple, apple. I have to offer apple. Oh, thank you.
We only heard from one in a meeting in 3 years.
Yeah, in fact, they said, um, the, they got together, I guess, at the Hadley Young Men's Club to write a letter to someone who had complained about rooster waking them up at 6:45 in the morning.
That's so bad.
So I'm sure they were a couple of pictures deep into to a pretty funny letter.
Yeah.
At the time.
6:45 is late.
That's
That's nothing.
that was the
Say,
complaint, right?
hire that
They were
rooster.
late for work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the
Well,
rooster-
we all done by 6. So I think that's all I've got.
Any news on APRs?
Did you relay that's the only news I had.
Oh, Galunkas.
The APR,
I mean Galinsky, excuse me.
yes. Which,
Hmm.
our new town administrator seems to have saved their local match portion, which I give him tons of credit. That's all I know about it, but I'm grateful for that. And if anybody could come to that special town meeting, I mean, I think with the support of the select board and the finance committee, it's likely to pass, but I also think just having a couple there to put their hands in the air would be helpful. Like,
It might only take a couple people at a
it might only
special
take a
town
couple
meeting.
people, and I just think it shows the farmers support this, for agriculture. And those
What,
I think those special town meetings usually go pretty fast because it's a short warrant and they're trying to get things done.
what's the date on that,
I think
Margaret?
it's the 12th.
The November 12th, I think it's at 7.
Is that the same one as the same the corridors?
No, it's the 7th. Yeah, so that would be. good thing to- So that's kind of all I got.
I don't have anything else.
So we'll call it done at 6:49.